Why Not? A queer podcast.
Thank you to our sponsor, Pineapple Healthcare, an award-winning primary care clinic right here in Orlando.
Pineapple Healthcare offers mental health counseling, HIV, STI testing and treatment, and specializes in care for the LGBTQ plus community.
Open Monday through Saturday. Call today at 407-553-6336 and schedule your appointment.
Pineapple Healthcare. Better together.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Todd.
And I'm Jeremy Williams, and you're listening to Wine.
Why Not? A queer podcast.
Episode 105.
Hey, we're off to a great start. The way this started is how my day has started. But if there is an awkward silence, if our tech team doesn't fix the awkward silence at the beginning, I usually hear Caitlin say, go ahead and talk.
She did.
Oh, did she? Was I asleep?
You zoned out there for a second.
Look, before we get into
She was like, go ahead. Rick.
Before I was listening to her like I listened to you on this podcast. I in my defense, I just want to say,
Sure.
Is this a defense? No, I've had a terrible morning.
I've heard worse defenses. Remember the Twinkie defense? I remember that one.
I wish I could use the Twinkie defense. I wish I ate Twinkies, not I wish I murdered somebody and then blamed it on Twinkies. But I've been off all day. I went to an appointment. I had a doctor's appointment this morning at 7:30, which I don't usually get up until 7:30. So I had to get up really early, get to the doctor's appointment on time. I had some decisions to make because I was running late, and I was like, do I shower? Do I wear the shirt that's on the floor? Oh. You know what I mean? But I had to rush to get everything done to get there in time.
Of course. And
then I get there, and the lady's asking me weird questions like, who are you supposed to see? What's your date of birth? And I was
Who are you? Where did you come from?
What's going on here? So I said... And then it clicked. I went, my appointment's next week, isn't it? And she was like, it is. And I'm like, all right. So then I left, and I haven't returned to this week yet. I still think it's next week.
Yeah, mucking up your schedule first thing in the morning will muck your
on
entire
a Monday.
Day up. Yeah. You're a week shot
fucked
now. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, 105.
105.
That's exciting. Did you look anything up about 105?
I sure did.
I had every intention.
I tried something new this time. I decided we should look at the past headlines from the year 105. The 105 of our Lord.
Really?
Yeah.
But this is way before the printing press.
It sure was.
How are the headlines?
It's funny because year 105 is considered the year of the birth of paper as we know it today.
Really?
It was discovered, I don't know how paper came to be, but it came to be under the Chinese Han Dynasty.
Really?
Yeah, they made paper, and I was like, you know what? If there's paper, there's headlines. So we're going to go
what
with
that paper feels like. What was it made out of? Probably not smooth.
Probably not wipeable
they probably
paper,
had to
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. They probably had to refine that over the centuries.
Yeah. Probably very jagged.
Jagged little paper.
But, very nice.
You gotta know.
But a few of the headlines, Pope Alexander I succeeds Pope Evitarius as the sixth pope. Yeah, we're up to 6. All right. This is my favorite headline, I think, of all time. Chinese emperor dies after a 17-year reign. That's not the funny part. The name of the Chinese emperor, he die. Not making that up.
He don't live.
He die.
He don't live. Do you know when you said after a 17-year reign, I was thinking like...
Let me try that again. He die.
I was like, wouldn't everybody just drown? 17 years? What kind of drainage system do they have? And then I realized, different kind of rain.
Yes. On that same dying reign, Pacorus II of Parthia died after a 27-year reign over the Roman Empire. Yeah. Pope. Oh, we did the Pope.
Did they live in Seattle? Why does it rain so much?
The Romans conquered Kurak of the Nabateans. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, you're just making shit up.
No, that was actually the first one. You Google year 105. That's the first thing that comes up. Romans conquer Kurak.
Oh, this makes way more sense. This is just shit that happened in 105. There was no headline.
Well, yeah, I didn't
it's like ripped from the headlines.
I didn't look up New York Times 105. This is just shit that happened.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's what I was promised.
Well, just go with it and pretend these were headlines. A couple popular births from the year. Alexander of Abotechus. He was a Greek mythic. Han Shagdi, a Chinese emperor. And Marcus Sedatius Severinius.
I'm
Sure, I butchered that name.
I'm sure that's exactly how you pronounce
Who's a
all of
Roman
those.
politician. Unfortunately, we lost some of the late greats of 105. Gnaeus of Afritense, Gnaeus of Pompeius, Marcus Valerius,
I don't know what's
Pacorus
happening right now.
II, and Plutarch, the Bishop of Byzantine. So pour one out for them.
To Plutarch.
To Plutarch. Anyway, that's all I have for 105. What do you have?
I don't know, it makes me think we should totally do a history podcast.
I'm sure whatever viewers or listeners we had, they left
Here's what I have for
when we
105.
got to Plutarch.
I have the intention of looking up anything interesting at 105, but I
Yeah.
did not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Mix 105.
Oh,
Point
all right.
one.
That's a radio station.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it still what it's called?
Oh, when I was a kid in St. Pete, there was Q105. Yeah.
I'm sure there is still a 105. I just don't know what they're about
Last
anymore.
time I checked in the Tampa Bay area, I think it's a country music station now. They were kind of a top 40 back in the 80s when I lived out there. So
The station you listen to here,
yeah.
when you get to St. Pete, it's Spanish.
Oh,
So
bilingual
easy listening, Orlando,
here.
Spanish.
Latin music event.
I don't know that you would classify the one out in St. Pete as easy listening.
It doesn't sound easy listening if you don't speak Spanish.
This is very difficult for me.
Moving right along. I don't have anything else for 105. So how was your week?
Oh, you want to do mine first?
Sure.
How exciting. Let's
throw
switching
a
it
wren-
up.
Your week's already fucked,
Look,
so
we have
let's throw a wrench
yeah,
in there.
We have a studio audience.
Tell
so
us how
I get
your
to go
last
first.
week went.
I'll try to remember it. Let's see. Let me pull out my novel.
Bring your readers.
I did,
Good,
but
good,
I don't
good.
need them because I print. I'm going to show this to the viewers. This is like how large print I
right.
print these things in, so I could see them without readers. Not
Felt
that
like
I'm
I was
ashamed.
at SNL. Those look like cue cards.
Oh my God! Are you watching the SNL the documentary, like the 4-part documentary thing?
No, I know that they were releasing it for their 50th year, but I had not known that it was released already.
Yeah, it's on Peacock. It's interesting. They do it in 4 parts. I've seen 2 of them, or I've seen 3 of them, and 2 are very interesting, and 1 is very dumb. But the first episode, it's called 5 Minutes, and it's about their auditions. Because they put them on stage, and they say, you got 5 minutes, entertain us. And it's fascinating. It's great because a lot of it too is like really the famous ones sitting on a stage watching their audition.
Oh,
and
that's gonna be awkward.
It was really hard for Amy Poehler. Like after 5 seconds of it, she was like,
She's like, please.
she's
turn
like,
it off.
okay, that's enough. Turn off. Stop. But it was really cool. That one was hers was weird, but. Also, Tracy Morgan is super weird in all of it, but he still makes me laugh.
I'm pretty sure that his character in 30 Rock is just him. Tina Fey just was like, that's how Tracy would say it.
Yeah, well, he says too, like he was like, I don't know that he says he was a gang member, but it's like he just lived tough on the streets, and then out of nowhere, like somebody's like, you should do
Also,
comedy.
didn't he almost die a few years ago?
Yeah, he got hit by a Walmart bus, wasn't it?
I think
don't
it was
know.
a truck. I don't know if it was a bus, but
Well,
it did
that's
have
what I meant.
Walmart
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean-
side.
It was big.
It was a big Walmart thing.
Listen, don't believe anything I say today. So anyway, Stephen Colbert had auditioned, and they played his audition, and he was funny because afterwards he was like, "That was hilarious." He's like, "That's the best I could do. How could you not hire me?" So that was really funny. And then there were they showed a lot of famous people who auditioned who didn't make it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people.
I know the old Jim Carrey famously auditioned and never made it onto SNL.
Right, but then he made it onto Mad TV, right?
In Living Color.
That's right.
Yeah.
I get this confused all the time.
They were both on Fox, so that makes sense.
And some people they talk about it, the casting people, that they're like, we knew these people were going to be famous, and this just wasn't the avenue for them, sort of a thing. But the one that I really liked was when Heidi Gardner was on there, and I've really come to like her. I didn't at first. It's just because I didn't like the character she was playing. She was always that like
ditzy kind of
like yes,
yeah.
And I just couldn't listen to it. But she watched her audition, and when she told a story about auditioning, right, and how she auditioned and then she went back home to LA, and she expected within 72 hours she would get a phone call of some kind. But she didn't meet with Lorne Michaels, and the rule was if you didn't meet with Lorne Michaels, you didn't get the job.
Yeah.
And so she didn't meet with him, and so she was kind of like, well, maybe 72 hours go by. She hadn't heard anything. Then it gets to like day 7, and she hasn't heard anything. So she said, well, I'm going to allow myself to mourn this loss. I didn't get this job. So she went to the grocery store and was walking in the cereal aisle because she likes the bright colors and reminiscing on the old cereals she used to eat as a kid. And then her phone rang, and it was a 917 number. So it was New York, and she answered it. And the person on the line was like, I've got Lorne Michaels on the phone for you. And she's like, I didn't know what to say. So I just said, okay, put him through. And they were like, is this Heidi Gardner? And she's like, yes, it is. Put him through. And so then he said, hey, you got the job. And it was really cool. And then when she watched her audition, just seeing how far she had come, and seeing that younger version of herself so full of hope, she just started crying a lot. And then she started laughing at herself and said, did anybody else cry? And they were like, everybody did. And then they cut to Bobby Moynihan crying because of the same sort of thing, just being part of something monumental. It's pretty cool. So that was a good episode. Then they did, the second episode was all about cowbell. It was just a documentary about the cowbell sketch, which,
all right.
I mean, I think they were even making shit up about it, like just to fill an hour. And I didn't understand that.
Now I want to watch that episode first.
I just don't understand. I was like, why not do an episode where you take like all like these characters that were crazy and talk about how the characters developed, and like not have to fill in with like made up crap. Like I think they put him, Will Ferrell, in that getup again, and then pretended he was a real person. And then pretended it was based on real people.
Stop, you sold me.
And I was
I'm gonna watch it.
I don't understand.
That sounds hilarious to me. Have you ever seen the Lifetime movie that Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig made?
No.
They did one of those Lifetime movies, but they do it like it's stupid and it's funny. But they try to do it like as a straight Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
And it is fucking ridiculous. And it is so funny. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life because they do all the weird, crazy shit that they do in Lifetime movies, but it's them doing it, trying to be serious, but not thinking, oh, we're going to make a serious film, being serious, knowing that it's a comedy and a ridiculous situation, which I think is just their peak comedy. And it is one of the best movies. It's available free on YouTube for now until somebody finds out that somebody uploaded it and they pull it down for copyright. But I watched it a couple of months ago.
Well, now they're going to know because everybody
YouTube.
Listens.
Leave it up. It is comedy gold, Mr. YouTube gods.
Listen, tell them Jeremy said to leave it up.
Yeah. They'll know what that means.
Right. Yeah. They'll know exactly what that means.
Tell them Jeremy said leave it up.
It means nothing, right? So then the third episode, this is the one I thought was really interesting too, is they talk about the production of the show from Monday to Saturday, through the process of the writers.
That would be interesting.
It was really good, and it was surprising. What is surprising about it is it operates like Watermark used to operate. No one thinks about the next week until that week's done. Yeah. And I find that so weird. Why do they no wonder they're like a lot of let's just say
Careful, Rick.
I know, right?
Careful, Rick.
Can we just this whole conversation
You're going to lose all of our SNL viewers.
Allegedly. Wouldn't it be crazy if Boeing Yang listened to us just to feel better about his own podcast? Because it's the same kind of thing, but he's way better at it. And then so he listens.
On the next episode, he's going to be like, this son of a bitch, Richard Todd.
Thinks that we're all drug addicts.
His voice turned into like a 1950s actor. What
if that was his podcast voice? Boeing Yang here, see? We're going to do a podcast, see? That, of course, they stay up all night writing. Yeah. And then they go in the morning and they pitch the things they wrote all night. And then they don't sleep. So, of course, there's just... like you hear stories about people on SNL who get addicted to drugs, and you're like, well, of course. Yeah. Like,
and it makes like when you hear that story from Chloe, I can't remember her last name, but when Elon Musk was hosting and he shot down one of her skits, and she's like, I just burst into tears. And I was like, yeah, first of all, he's an asshole, so you probably were already in an emotional state, but you're not sleeping for 3 days. You're hopped up on caffeine and what else they serve there. Of course you're emotional. and somebody says, you stayed up all night writing that? That's shit. Of course you're going to burst into tears.
Yeah. It's fascinating, though, to see, like, some of the skits. And I know this a little bit from when I worked on the Ricky Lake show, like when you have 3 segments, but you book 5.
Here, you drop this name.
Can you get that for me? I dropped the name over there. But you book 5 stories and you only follow through with 3.
Yeah.
So, it's like once that 3rd story, if people check into their plane flight, then you just cancel the other ones. And so this goes all the way to dress rehearsal. So you've got full costumes, full sets, everything. They do the final dress rehearsal, and then Lorne Michaels says, here's the ones that are going to make it. So there are really elaborate things that they do that, like, people whose their whole job is to create this look, and then they do it for no reason. It just goes into a storage closet somewhere until the next time somebody needs a Mikey Day head.
That sounded weird,
doesn't it?
Yeah,
I said he needs
it's
one,
brutal.
not gives one.
But you mentioned Stephen Colbert did an audition, didn't get in. You know that he appeared on SNL. Not like as a host or anything, but the animated shorts, the Saturday morning TV Funhouse, whatever they used to do. Yeah, he was the voice of what were the little gay, ambiguously gay duo? Gay duo. He was the main one.
Unlike us, who are the
Steve Carell was his Robin-ish character. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I think you had told me that.
Did I?
Yeah, and I
need to make notes of what I tell people.
This whole episode of this is told through the vehicle of Io's last time on the show. So it was interesting. It was all like new, so it was fairly new people and everything, but it was really interesting. And like, there's people that are writers now that are famous for other things. Like, did you watch the other 2, right?
Yeah.
I think this is one of the Insta-gays. Who's in it, but he's also somebody who was, it might have been Fire Island, like one of the mean gays in Fire Island.
Yes,
he's a writer.
He's the Bowen Yang's co-star on his podcast.
But you know what else was really strange? Like, you didn't see Colin Jost at all. Is he not a writer?
I thought he was writer.
He's not. There's another guy that is.
No.
Yeah.
When did this happen?
I don't know.
I don't agree.
Unless they have multiple head writers. I don't know. And Michael Che was in it, but just because he was doing warm-up before the show started.
That's interesting. John Mulaney used to be a writer on SNL, and him and his name escapes me, but the actor who played Stefan, they came up with Stefan and would write the jokes.
Oh, what is that guy's
John
name?
Mulaney would write them on the cut. Bill Hader. And Bill Hader wouldn't even know what he was writing on the cue cards.
Oh, that's why he laughed so much doing
That's why he laughed so much, and that's when he started covering his mouth like that, because he would laugh because he had no idea what he was writing on the cards.
Yeah.
Put that in the documentary.
They did not.
Well, maybe part 4.
They should have. They showed a lot of John Mulaney from his time as a writer. Babies.
Yeah.
Young. All of them so young. And there's another guy that was a writer who recently wrote a Broadway show with John Mulaney. There's a Broadway show that I have comedians come in and do.
Yes.
I forget that guy's name, but he looks like he's 11 years old as a writer for SNL. Anyway, fabulous. I sorry about got on that tangent, but so this podcast is going to be 3 hours long. But I finally made my way to St. Pete. That was a big part of my week. I haven't been there, I think, in 3 weeks.
Oh, how is it? Still the same?
It's lovely.
Oh, good.
It's lovely. It's so funny. We sit in here. There's 2 people in here with us today.
Sure.
Usually it's just Caitlin, and we record this and we go off in our worlds and we don't think about it much anymore to know like who's listening and what's going on. But somebody that I'm friends with that I haven't hung out with a long time, that I hung out with recently, came up to me and they said, "Hey, how's that issue going with the unhoused people that live next to you?" And I started telling them about it, and they're like, "Oh no, we know that because we listen to the podcast." And I was like, "Oh, I forget that that's out there, and then I talk about that." But I'll give you an update on it.
Sure.
It's 40. It was 40 degrees outside when I was there, so it was very quiet.
Oh, did they freeze to death?
No.
Oh.
No, I just think that they're probably.
I was flashback to the end of Titanic, and it's just like eventually their cries subsided.
There was just this faint whistle. No, they were there. I mean, they were burning things in their stove to try to keep warm or whatever they have out there. But it was real quiet. And so like the neighbors also on the other side that gather in their front yard and are real loud all the time. Very quiet. It was nice. I was there for a very short amount of time. But we had the what's that thing that we called it? Out for Business networking event we did with the Tampa Bay LGBT Chamber of Commerce. That was great. It was at Cocktail. They had this really nice charcuterie spread, which I totally love. But it was a really good event. It was really nice to be back in the swing of doing that. So every other month we'll be out there with them doing an event. And what else? We had our retreat.
We did.
That's great. So what we do is once a year. It's typically at the end of the year, but lately we've done that at the beginning. To sort
all of my notes have indicated it's an annual meeting because I used to put end of the year and I was like, well, it's not the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I just call it an annual now.
Right. It's just we kind of get together and we look at the last year about what our goals were and how did we do, and then we sort of talk about what we want the next year of our lives to be like at Watermark. And so that was really nice. It was really good for me too, because it was like, usually I feel like they're just kind of lofty and we're just kind of like, oh, let's make $6 million and buy a 8-story building and have an office like Google and, things that are never going to happen. But this one was
an office like Google,
right? We'll put it out there in the universe. It'll happen someday. So it's just really good conversations about what we have the capacity to do, what we can actually do. And I really liked it.
Yeah, it was a good time. That's all I got to say about that.
Thanks, Forrest. Do you have it past the Universal?
Do I have an annual pass to Universal? I don't have annual passes to no theme parks.
Oh, that's smart. It's probably why you have more money than me. I just renewed mine.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and I did it because we went to go see Jessica Kirson, right?
We did, yes.
Who is a lesbian comedian.
She is.
I did not know that she was lesbian. I didn't. I mean, I had suspicions. And she has a big gay following.
Yeah.
And I thought I've seen her clips, and I thought they were hilarious. So I definitely wanted to go see it. But Jen, it was like 2 p.m, and Jen's like, "Hey, you want to go early? And we go to Universal?" And I was like, "I don't think I have my pass anymore." I was like, "But I'll renew it. Let's just go." So we just went there to renew it, and I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I have a Disney pass, and I remember when you sign up for it, there was a deposit, and I figured there'd be a deposit, but I figured it'd be a small amount, but it was $400.
Ooh.
And I was already there. I wasn't going to say no. I should have.
$400 down, and how much a month?
Like $30 a month, if that. It's like, yeah. So it's basically half down, and then it's real little throughout the month. But I got the good one, right? That comes with free valet.
Oh, all right. Yeah,
Is it free valet? As I walked away, Jen's like, but it's good because you get free valet. And I was like, I don't know. I could have paid $30 for valet. I just paid $400 for this pass.
Yeah.
I don't think it's free.
But you pay in many ways.
But the other cool benefit, which is why I really like it, is that after 4:00 with this one, you get the express pass to get on. You can go in the fast lanes at all the rides.
Oh, I love it.
And so I was like, oh, let's go do it. So we went to go on Spider-Man. Like, we picked the oldest ride in the whole place to go on.
It's a good ride, though.
It is.
I like that one.
It is. It's not smooth, but it's a good one.
No. But being Spider-Man is never smooth.
Yeah. So then we saw Jessica Kirson. You want to talk about her?
Sure. Jessica Kirson is a stand-up comedian.
Sure is.
Comedian, if you gender your
Did you write down the name of the guy who opened for her?
Let's see. I wrote she had an opening act whose name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't write his name down either. So, Guy, you were funny. I thought you were really good. I enjoyed it. And he was awkward, and I appreciate the awkwardness and the humor of people who are like, oh, but he did a thing that I really don't like when comedians do, but for some reason I found it endearing.
Why don't you tell me what it is, and then I'm going to read you what I wrote, because I think it might be the same thing.
When I don't like it when comedians tell a joke and it doesn't go over well, and then they say, well, that one didn't work, or you don't like that, so we'll go on to something else. Like, yeah, I can tell by us not laughing that we didn't like
it. Because she did it too a couple of times. When a joke doesn't land, she'll or they'll call the audience like stupid or dull, and they're like, oh, are we not laughing today? And it's like, no, you're just not funny.
Remember when that one person, I won't say any names, did it at
I made a
Fringe?
note of that too. We're like, I put on here, we know a certain comedian who did that during a Watermark event a few years back. It doesn't make you edgy or funny to call your audience stupid because they didn't find your joke funny.
I feel like the only reason we're agreeing so much on the same plane is because I'm exhausted and you're exhausted, and we've had really weird mornings.
I will say, here, we'll disagree on this, because I love Jessica Kirson online.
Yeah.
And I interviewed her, and she was a delight to talk to. And I hope to God she doesn't listen to this podcast because I don't want that call. I was not impressed with the show, with her or the opening act. I yawned several times. They both went a little long on certain bits, and it's like, all right, wrap it up. And then the just like screaming out of nowhere she does, and like she'll yell, vagina. And it's like, all right, I get it. You're not Sam Kinison.
But she does that in all of her videos.
No, all I watch is mostly that I've seen are the crowd work.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't post her bit.
Right.
Because, and I'm quoting her, I don't get paid for posting them online, so I'm not going to post them online. I'll draw you in with my crowd work. And I was like, and you did.
Yeah.
Your crowd work was hilarious. Not that night, but the thing with crowd work is it depends on the crowd. And this criticism is not for Jessica Kirson. It is for the audiences of Orlando. You all were pretty dull. And I don't mean everybody. I mean the first 3 or 4 rows of her show this weekend. You all were not giving her anything to work with. You were drunk. You were obnoxious. And I don't approve.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think this is like you're going to go see a comedian. Like when I used to go see Lisa Lampanelli.
Yeah.
You want to sit in the front. You want her to make fun of you. And so you want to sit in the front. But here's what you do, right? If this is you, if you want to be the person that interacts with a comedian, I want you to write down what you want to say and then put it on a piece of paper and then drink. Mm-hmm. But when you get there, pull that piece of paper out. And if they call on you, just read the paper because you sound like an idiot. And you really ruin the show for everybody else when you're just like, I love you.
And there's everybody kept shouting, I love you. And then I get that not all jokes from all comedians are going to be funny. But if you're a fan, you don't have to overcompensate with your applause and laughter to make everyone else think, no, that was a funny joke. And there was a guy like 2 rows at the end of the row in a white shirt who 3 or 4 times on not a very funny joke stood up and applauded. And he's like, yeah. And I was like,
in the center?
Yeah. No, I saw that one too. He was like at church.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
He was at the vagina church. He was like snapping the whole time.
No, he was like 2 rows because we were at the little edge and then 2 rows in front and all the way at the end. And he was just like going crazy. I was like, dude, it wasn't that funny.
You know,
also don't do your edibles when you're going to a show.
You said that all she did was yell vagina. Yeah, vagina. And then I just said vagina church and it made me laugh. And I went to find a pen to write it down and I noticed that Caitlin was already writing it down. Well, I was like, well, clearly I thought her show was funny.
We'll see if vagina show makes it into the end. I was not.
I think there's a couple things working against her, and I'll just say this: when you put your best work in like little clips like that it's. People are expecting that you're always going to be that funny. Like, I wonder what a Matt Rife show was like because he always has that's what he does is his crowd work thing.
He's always got
so I
crowd
just wonder
work on
if
there.
like for an hour, can he sustain that level of hilarity?
You can check that. He's got a show on Netflix, a special, and I'll answer that for you. No, he cannot.
Well, they probably edit out when you're doing a show like they probably edit it out. Like I'm interested to see her show that's coming up on
Hulu.
On Hulu.
Yeah.
So there was that, but also, and I believe this to be 100% true. She kept saying something about how it was really hot in there, and she's basically like she kept joking about it, like turn the air on because when you're a comedian and you have an audience that's too warm, they're gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
And it was true. I was getting really tired, and so I felt bad for her for that. But all in all, I think there was a lag there in like what was funny and what wasn't. And Danny said he thought that part where she turned around and gave herself that pep talk that he thought that was hilarious. I didn't.
No.
So I mean, but it's hit or miss. It's all subjective anyway, right?
Yeah.
But that little bit where she was talking about, first of all, her parents having sex, that thing was cracking me up.
Sure.
And then when she said that she was describing how she's just too old and it's just certain things she's not going to do sexually, and that she started describing like what she's like when she's having sex, and then she said, I feel like I'm in the batter's box or like I'm in a batter stance, and that cracked me up because she looked like it. So anyway,
baseball comedy works for you.
It does.
It does.
It does. vagina humor, and
Hit
baseball.
or miss.
Those are my top two. So then,
Thank you.
the opening guy. What did I miss?
Hit or miss.
Oh.
Anyway, continue.
The guy, the first guy, the awkward guy.
Yeah.
When he was talking, he did that bit about his mom sounding like Donald Trump. Cracked me
he
up.
does it good, Donald Trump. I will give him that.
And his mom doing it was hilarious. Do you get nervous for people when they're on a stage in Florida and you can tell they're about to talk about Donald Trump?
Not nervous, concerned.
I'm like, oh my God, are people gonna scream at him like, that's my president? You know. So I got nervous for him.
Oh, not in that manner. I get concerned. I thought you meant like when they do impersonations. I get concerned for people who do impersonations because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a sucky impersonation. It's like, oh, someone should have told you that does not work. That's like me getting up there and doing an hour of accents.
I was going to say, not everybody has your talent for accents. Then the last thing I think I have on here is that I went to I know, right?
Oh, no, you're good. You're fine.
I looked up at that. I was like, I've been talking for an hour. Then I went to the International Festival of the Arts at Epcot.
Oh, how was
which
that?
is really nice. It wasn't as nice or wasn't as cool as like the last times because it wasn't a media invite thing, but it was just I wanted to go, so I went, and I have an annual pass. It was pretty good. I'll point out a couple of highlights as far as the food goes. There's this thing called the passion fruit mango cheesecake. It's at the Encanto Coquina. Now, I will say this about mango. I think Florida is obsessed with mango, and I'm not. But this thing was probably the best dessert I've ever eaten at Disney. Super good. So check that out. There's also like this croissant beef Wellington thing at one of the stands, and that was incredible. So it was good. Now, I did eat like a pig, and I ate so many different things, and I suffered for it this morning. But it was pretty good. There was this trio of deviled eggs. Are you a fan of deviled eggs?
I enjoy good deviled eggs.
There's this trio of deviled eggs. If you go there, I recommend that you get it. But the one in the middle, it's called, what is that goddess thing? There's some place that has like goddess sauce or something, and I felt like it was supposed to be that, but it's called goddess something.
Oh, that vegan place we used to go to had good goddess sauce.
Throw that out. Throw it out. Don't eat it. It was so bad. I felt like I ate like dirt, like or like earth egg. It was really bad.
Earthy flavors.
It was no. I mean, I was shocked. I finished it though. I only took a bite of it. Tim had thrown the whole thing in his mouth and was like, ugh. And I was like. He's like, I should have been smart and only taken one bite. And as he was saying that, I was eating the rest of it as I was complaining about how bad it was. But they have a pimento cheese one. It's delicious. And then they have a BLT one. That was really good.
Oh, all right.
Highly recommend it. But this is my favorite thing about it, right? Mm-hmm. This is not cheesy because I'm not a person who has feelings, right?
Sure.
Well, I mean, I have them, but we don't talk about them.
You don't use them.
I don't use them. I mean, I pull them out when I need them. Right. But I went to the show, like the Broadway show. Have you been to the Arts Festival?
No.
Oh, okay. So they have a thing like this is new. They have this whole Disney Broadway thing at this new Communicore building that they have. And it's this display of all the props and costumes from it. And they talk about it's a big Disney promotional Broadway thing. And then they have like the Food and Wine Festival. They have certain drinks and foods around the countries. Then they do a show at the American Pavilion, which is Disney on Broadway. And they bring people who have starred in Broadway Disney shows to perform some of the songs. So this was Cassie Levy, who was the original Elsa in Frozen. And then
I'm pretty sure that was Idina Menzel.
Well, on Broadway.
Oh, I don't know her.
Yeah. And no offense. I mean, we all know I love Idina. Everybody does.
Careful.
But
careful, Rick.
Dare I say.
Careful.
No, allegedly, dare I say, subjectively speaking, and maybe an unpopular opinion, she just sings that song better, this girl. She does.
How dare you? You probably like the movie version of Wicked better.
No. But then there was a guy, and I'm just gonna call him Mr. Remy because I don't want to butcher his first name.
Remy is short for Jeremy.
Speaking of, what kind of wine are you drinking today?
Cheap Sutter Homes.
There you go. Goes right to the bloodstream,
yes,
huh?
it does.
But he was from The Lion King. Anyway, there's a part of the show where he encouraged everybody to get up and dance. he's like, everyone get up and dance. And
Did you?
I had taken the seat in front of Jen and Tim because,
Yeah.
we were there late and you had to pack in and I sat up there and Jen started laughing because, me, love me some audience participation. So he said,
Absolutely.
everybody get up and dance. And I just in my chair, I went, mm-mm. And then you could hear Jen laughing behind me. So I did not. And he was singing Son of a Human from Tarzan.
Yeah.
And I guess this is a beat song. I had never heard it before. And this little girl about 5 or 6 rows ahead of me stood up on the thing and she was dancing. And she was so funny because she just didn't have a care in the world. And she was maybe like 3 years old and she was throwing her hands in the air and she was laughing and just having the best time. And I fucking loved it. It made me, it made me so happy to see like somebody just having the time of their life, kind of renewed joy in my life, sort of a thing.
The one performing, that was the original Tarzan from Broadway?
No, he was from The Lion King. He just happened to be
he was
there.
singing. Okay.
I think that guy's name is something Strickland. Yeah, and he's going to be there in a couple weeks.
I interviewed him a few years back when he was doing something in town, and we got hit it off real nice, and he was like, "I'm on TikTok, follow me." And I was like, "Oh, okay." This is when TikTok was just started. It was during COVID. I interviewed him and Michael James Scott together because they were doing a concert together. And I followed him on TikTok, and like 2 minutes later, he followed me back. And I don't even have any TikToks up. So I was like, oh, he followed for me, not my videos. So that's my claim to fame. If you need to hit up Tarzan,
You know what he did?
I can message him on TikTok.
No, he looked at your page and he didn't see any videos, and he goes, "Oh, it must be set to private. You must have to be friends with him. You must have to follow him to see him." And then he clicked the button, and he was like, "Oh."
He got nothing, but he didn't unfollow. That's a win in my book.
I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but
That's never stopped you before.
I know, right? He's zesty.
Oh, yeah.
He's very zesty.
He's spicy.
Yeah. Why is he spicy? He's so
handsome.
talented. He's very handsome, and he's very good at singing.
He loves TikTok dances.
Oh, really?
Yes, he does.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
I do want to point this out though too. I don't know the connection here. I didn't make this connection to The Greatest Showman and Disney before, and I don't know if maybe after the movie came out, Disney bought the rights to it.
I think Fox was the studio that produced The Greatest Showman, and now Disney owns everything that's Fox.
Oh, okay. Well, they're doing The Greatest Showman. It's in production right now as for Broadway show.
Yeah. Yeah, I did know
and
that.
these two sang "This Is Me" at the end of the show, and it was incredible.
Oh,
That is going to be a great show. I'm going to like it for sure.
That goes into the category of I didn't like the movie, but I love the music.
Yeah. It's really good music.
So maybe just sing the
Did
song.
you ever see
Maybe
that?
the whole show.
You ever see the video of is it Seeley Kettle
Oh, singing the
singing "This Is Me" in the
rehearsals.
read through?
Yeah,
Whoo. That's
that's actually
inspirational
what got
stuff,
her
right?
the job. She was just a stand-in, and they were going to hire somebody else. And because of that video, they put her in the movie.
Chills. I'm gonna go watch.
Are
that
they
when we get done here.
multiplying?
I'm losing control.
It's a whole Broadway show.
We could do this to the whole. We could do the whole song. So anyway, that was my week.
Beautiful.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Outstanding. One other thing that we did that I want to mention that you didn't mention, but it's probably because you slept through part of it.
Oh. Call me out like that.
No. You just fell asleep during a few minutes.
It was a wonderful
It was a very
performance.
warm theater.
No, it was just dark and cold. That also puts me.
Creative City Projects is coming back with Immerse. It's the 10th anniversary, and it's going to be on February. Where the hell did I write the dates down? I know I wrote the dates down. Oh, there it is. February 21st through the 23rd, and it is. It's like an interactive arts festival downtown, and they invited media to. Where they do Drawn to Life, Cirque du Soleil at Disney Springs. I was going to call it its old name, a dead name, Disney Springs. And we went there, and we got to hear from some of the event organizers, and we saw a couple of the performances that they'll be doing at Cirque du Soleil. This is the first year that Cirque du Soleil is bringing their Drawn to Life down there. They did, what was it, Nubia that was there before?
La Nuba.
La Nuba.
It's funny you say Nubia because The Gods Love Nubia is a song from Aida, which was a Disney Broadway show. See,
which is going to be performed there.
It's all
No,
connected.
not really.
It's all connected.
It's
a
the
great
circle of life, as they call it.
We are two on the same page.
There you go.
This does not make for a good podcast.
So they'll have them. Blue Man Group's going to be there. As we mentioned earlier, Michael James Scott. He'll be in the mix there. Orlando Philharmonic. So it should be a lot of fun. February 21st through 23rd. A lot of it'll be free. Like you can just go downtown and see it. But they do have some ticketed events, and it's $25 for the whole weekend to go to everything. And then they have a VIP experience for $100. Check it out.
Oh, well, if they want to invite us to this experience, to review it, I'm happy to go, and I promise you, I will not sleep through it.
It is funny that you said that because they did mention
you get invited.
No, you can go too. There are 2 media events tied to it, but they mentioned it in the theater.
I heard it
while we were there.
I heard the whole thing.
So...
I was just resting my eyes. I heard everything.
Your eyes were closed, but your ears were open.
I
and
do
that's
know.
How you knew.
I mean, I saw enough of it to be able to say that the unicyclist, the girl unicyclist team, they were very good.
Here they showed us the unicyclist, and then they had the girls who were swinging on the hoops that were going up and down. And what's going to be really interesting for Immerse is they're going to do both the acts, but they're going to do it simultaneously. So while they're unicycling around the stage, these girls are going to be bouncing in and out of their circles in their little hoops. Should be crazy. Dangerous. Don't try this stunt at home kind of shit.
You know, I will say that I don't know why I was so tired. And I feel really bad because I know they were taking pictures of the audience before they were performing.
They were.
But I was awake.
Oh, they sent the production the video to use as B-roll for like when we're writing the story. So I will go through it and see if we see you.
Please tell me I'm not sleeping in it. I mean, they're not going to send a photo of somebody sleeping in the audience to
they zoomed right in on your face.
They're like, don't be this guy.
For the excitement.
I feel bad.
But it's a great event. It's the 10th anniversary, so they're going to do it even bigger up this year. So get downtown and see it.
Yeah.
While you still can.
I do want to go. I remember this too. The guy who was head of the project of Immerse, who was
Cole,
speaking.
His last name escapes me. It's like
McZesty.
No, it's like Nusso, something like that. Cole. His first name's Cole.
He said that he's been approached to do this in other cities, but feels like that Central Florida is uniquely qualified
Absolutely,
to hold this because of all of the talent and the diverse talent that's here. And I 100% agree with that.
Absolutely.
So I definitely want to check it out.
So that's coming up. The only other thing that happened this week of any event was this past weekend, my main sewer line got backed up at the house, not in my body.
Well, that sounds shitty.
It sure was. So Sunday, I started meal prepping these last couple of weeks because I hear that helps maintain good eating habits.
It does.
So Sunday is I do my laundry, I clean up the house, I meal prep, I cook all this food for the whole week, and I break up in containers. My whole refrigerator is just lines of these little plastic containers. So I loaded the dishwasher, put a load of laundry, and so lots of water going on at the house. And I start hearing a gurgling in my kitchen sink. And it sounded like water draining. Not the typical water draining like from a dishwasher. So I go into the kitchen and I hear like this little drip of water. And I open the cabinet under the sink and it's completely flooded. So I had to pull everything out and I'm mopping it up with towels. And while I'm cleaning that up, my brother comes out and he's like, are you having any problems with the plumbing? And I said, it's funny you should say that. I am currently cleaning up a flood underneath our kitchen sink. And he's like, there's water flowing out of my toilet from underneath the toilet on the seal. And there is brown sludge coming up my shower drain. And I was like,
sludge.
The same thing happened in Poltergeist. And I was like, pack your bags and get the fuck out of here. And he goes, I think it's the plumbing. It's not a ghost.
As the kids would say on the internet, that is shit from a butt.
What?
You've never heard this?
No. I mean, I know.
I know where it comes from.
Shit comes from a butt, but I did not know that the kids were expressing that.
I'm sending it to
On the
you.
tops.
It's hilarious.
I
Oh,
look
it's not the
forward to
talks.
it.
I say the kids, but I mean the old people on Facebook.
Oh. I don't know her. So we go into his bathroom, and yeah, he's got like 9 towels laid down already. So he goes, "Is your bathroom flooding?" And I was like, "I don't think so." So we go in there. Sure enough, there's water pouring out of the bottom of my toilet around the edge. It's just spewing out. And my tub, we look over and my tub is filling with brown water. And I was like, what in the fuck? So we wrap towels around the toilet, and it's Sunday, so nobody's in at our rental property management company. So I get the voicemail, and I leave a voicemail, and then it has the little, "If you have a maintenance emergency, call this number." I was like, we sure do. We sure do. So I called there, and I got a call center somewhere. I don't know. They're not in Orlando, because she kept saying, "What state are you in?" And I was like, obviously not the one you're in. So she said, "We'll get an your rental property has emergency plumbers listed, so we'll call one and get them right away." I was like, perfect. An hour goes by, nothing. 2 hours go by, nothing. So I call back, and I said, "Where the hell is this plumber? The water has not stopped." So she says, "It's funny because all of the recommended plumbers for your area are out of Illinois." And I was like, I don't know what that means. I don't live in Illinois. And she goes, "Yeah, it's weird." I was like, "It sure is." She goes, "But we're going to get it worked out. They should be there soon." So the water from around the toilets was still kind of seeping out, so we had to keep swapping out the towels. But the tubs started to subside, and it was like Moses. The waters subsided. And it turns out
Just like Moses.
that it's because the washer machine was going and dumping water, and the dishwasher was going and dumping water. And our main sewer line, because it was blocked, the water would all whoosh down our sewer line, hit the blockage, and then bounce back and come up all of the drains. So it was all the shit that had been flushed out of our dishwasher, our clothes, our toilets, all coming up it was disgusting. So
did it go back through the washer?
Huh?
Did it go back through the washing machine?
No, I don't know. Maybe because it
I would've
didn't
thrown all
overflow the
those clothes
tubs
away.
or anything. But so I'm thinking like the pipe that it goes up just wasn't
High enough?
Yeah. Or it was too high.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So it wouldn't push back up in there, and it didn't flush back into like overflow on the sinks. It just overflowed on the bases of the toilet, which that was the big problem. So I finally found an email address for our rental management person, and I sent her an email, and like 10 minutes later she called. By this time, it's like 8 o'clock at night. And she's like, "I haven't heard from them at all. I had no idea you were having a problem." So she said, "I'm going to call a plumber in Orlando for you." So she did, and I want to give a shout out because they were lifesavers last night. Gomez Plumbing in Orlando, use them and ask for Andrew because he was not only got out there and got to work right away and was fantastic, but he ain't hard on the eyes. I'll tell you that. And me and my brother were sitting in the living room waiting for the plumbing to get fixed by him. And we were watching South Park, and he's a huge South Park fan. And he would constantly buy, "Dude, I love South Park." And I was like, we love you, Andrew.
I've seen a lot of videos that involve hot plumbers.
You know what? I was texting with Chris because he was at work, which, by the way, he was getting ready to leave for work when this all happened. And his biggest thing was, "Do you want me just to brush my teeth at work?" And I was like, "Take your fucking toothbrush and get out. I don't want to hear it." So he took his toothbrush and brushed his teeth at the hospital. But he kept texting me. And he's like, "How is it going?" And I was like, "Hot plumber's here, so it's not too bad." And then nothing happened. Like, he didn't come out, and he was like, "So I fixed your pipes. Is there anything else I can fix?" Bow, chow, wow.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
I cleaned your pipes. Do you want to clean mine? Nothing.
Right? Nothing. Anyway, it was nice that he came and fixed our plumbing. But because it had busted the seals, I guess, on the toilet, he removed the toilet and fixed all the seals. He was there till I didn't go to bed till like 3 a.m. He was there like late at night. And when he first came in, and I know nothing about plumbing, so I wouldn't know why you would need access to the roof. But he goes, "Do you mind if I get up on the roof?" And I was like, "I don't give a fuck what you do, just fix the pipes." But apparently there's pipes that run up the walls to the roof, so you got to check.
Well, the whole thing is like you have to have this it's something about the gases and everything that come up the pipes. They have to leave and they go.
Oh, well, that's
those
probably
thing
what
in the
he's
roof
checking
that goes.
then.
So if you ever have like a clog that's like not in your toilet but it's in the pipes outside of it, they run a snake from that. All the way
Oh,
through.
well, that makes sense. It ended up that roots had grown into the pipes in our main sewer line, which he says is very common.
Yes.
And he went in there and dug out the roots and flushed my pipes, and now they work beautifully.
I'm surprised you didn't like go to bed at midnight and just like, so when you get it fixed, go ahead and shower up and come on into bed.
He did when he was like, he goes, everything's fixed. Do you mind if I wash my hands? And I wanted to be like, you can wash your whole body if you want, right through there. But I didn't want to be gross and prude or perverted. So I just said, sink's over there.
As long as you ask for consent.
That's true. I wasn't getting the gay vibe on there, and I didn't want to go full on, Kevin Spacey on the guy. So we just let it go.
When I was at the Festival of the Arts, a lot of the places had the same kind of artwork, and I wanted to buy something, and I'm obsessed lately with Stitch, so I was going to buy some sort of Stitch artwork. Sure. But since there were like several ones, and the first couple of places we went to, like some of the artists were really cute, and so I told Tim, I was like, well, let's find the hottest, artist, and we'll buy some Stitch thing from the hottest artist. And so we were walking around and we're like, okay, well, it's so-and-so now. And then, it's so-and-so. And then there was one that we totally got a gay vibe from. And so we were like, oh, let's go back to that guy and we'll buy it from him. And I walked up and I pointed at the one that I wanted. I was like, I want to get this. And he goes, yeah, that one. Okay, bro, I'll be right back. And then I went, oh, we should have gone to the other guy.
I'll tell you what, a hot guy calling me bro, that does it for me. That does it for me. I apologize. I forgot my intern was in here with us. Ignore everything I said.
Yeah, this is an HR-free zone.
I bought a piece of artwork from a hot guy once. It's a picture of Dumbo. Actually, it's really nice.
Who was the artist?
Nick.
Oh, aw. There you go. Nick's driving his car right now, going, "Oh, Jeremy said I'm hot."
He thinks I'm hot. But yeah, it's hanging in my Lego room. I felt like living room, bedroom, Lego room. A portrait of Dumbo probably fits better in the Lego room. That's where all my Disney Legos are anyway. But yeah, that was my week. That was actually my last night, the whole flooding. So it was quite chaotic.
It was nice to have a busy week because we had a couple where it was a little...
Yeah. It was kind of... Well, some of them were shortened. It's hard to come up with what did you do for your week when we do podcast 3 days after the last one.
Yeah, but you and I can manage to talk for an hour about anything, right?
As we did.
So we did watch, we're going to talk about a show now. We did watch something. And this is another, here's I think last podcast we talked about how we pick the shows that we do. I watched this video because like when I'm going to bed and I turn my TV on, for some reason my TV gives suggestions to me, which is how we ended up watching Naked Boy Singing, because it was like, oh, there's this show called Naked Boy Singing. And I was like, oh, maybe we'll watch that. But this thing popped up and it said 15 of the most underrated LGBT movies out there. So we watched it, and there's some of them that look good.
Yeah.
So we decided to pick one of them.
One thing I learned from that list that you sent me, 9 out of every 10 gay movies that are made involve sex. Like every clip, it was like, try this movie, and they would cut to 2 guys in bed having sex. And I was like, it's everything. It's about sex.
Right? Don't we do anything else?
I'm so exhausted.
Not one about brunch.
I know, right?
So
we should watch a movie about gay brunch. Is there? We should
is
write
there?
a movie
well,
about
I know
gay
that
brunch.
in the Birdcage they go to brunch.
Have we done the Birdcage?
I don't think we have. And you know what? If you want to cover a gay movie that's not about sex, you have to find one that's about old gay people. And there you go. Like, it's not about sex and dishes.
We need more old gay movies.
Well, yeah.
Old gay people movies. Anyway.
When
this was
that,
one of them
when
not
does that
about
one,
sex.
When does that one come out? That the gay version of the Golden Girls with Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer. Is that still happening?
I don't.
Was it Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer?
I
remember
don't
it was
know.
supposed to be a TV show, and it was.
I know that there's been rumors out over the last
and
couple
what's
of
her name
years.
from Alice? From the TV show Alice, the lady who played Alice in it was supposed to be Matt Bomer's mom, and so Matt Bomer and his mom move in with
None
Nathan
of this
Lane.
is ringing a bell.
Am I making this up
I know
completely?
there was like a
Has anybody heard
meme
of
or
this?
something going around where they were like, it was going to be George Takei and Leslie Jordan and 2 other gay guys, and it was going to be like the gay male Golden Girls, but I don't know if that was like just a fan thing or if it was a legit thing that was coming out.
Matt Bomer and Nathan Lane to star in Golden Girls.
That's
Ryan
news to me.
Murphy is behind a new queer-centered Golden Girls.
You lost me at Murphy.
That was from June of 2018. So
well, hopefully
anyway.
that doesn't happen. And Matt
I don't
Bomer,
know
I
it.
love you. Stop working with Ryan Murphy.
I like most of the things that. I mean, come on. I loved Hollywood. I don't have a Ryan Murphy problem.
I don't have a Ryan
I'm so
Murphy
glad we disagree
problem
on something again.
per se. I just have a problem with him. He's very problematic. And allegedly, I think that in the next few years, we'll hear some Weinstein stuff about him. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly. I don't have any proof of that, but he just gives that vibe to me. Anyway.
Wow.
Can't wait for the next season of
Well,
American
at
Horror
least
Story.
when we get sued, we'll know which episode it's about, right?
I said allegedly. He can't sue.
When you watch this thing, the
Yes.
one about the closet, the one where the guy like reaches into his stomach.
Oh, yeah, that one looked weird.
Are you at all are interested in that?
That looks I like
I'm
weird
a little
shit.
afraid of it.
So,
That looks
but yeah,
weird.
he like reaches inside his stomach.
It's above his belly button,
Yeah.
and he pushes in, and he just reaches into his stomach.
Yeah.
How does this happen? He's in that show that I like called Falling Skies that was on TNT with
yeah.
Noah Wiley.
Yeah.
And he's actually gay. So anyway, I said, look at all these. Half of them we had covered already.
Yeah, there were some on there that we
which
covered.
was nice to see that we're on the
Yeah.
right track with some movies. But then there was this one which we haven't covered, and you suggested that
Yes.
we watch that one. So we watched.
El filo invisible. Or in English, the invisible thread.
See, accents aren't hard. Impressions aren't hard.
It's an Italian. I'm Italian, so this just comes naturally to me.
It's obvious.
But yeah, it's an Italian film from 2022. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix film, so if you like it and you have Netflix, check it out. I had to watch it with commercial breaks because I am too cheap to buy the expensive Netflix.
You should, when you're gonna watch something for this on Netflix, you should call me. I'll give you my password and see if you can get in without us being charged, and just watch the
Okay.
show and then log out.
We'll try that. Well, I mean, I have the cheap one. I don't mind the commercials. They're usually pretty short. Then I had to go to the commercial-free Max because the commercial breaks on Max were like 3 or 4 minutes long, and I was like, nah, that's bullshit. Netflix, it's like 30 seconds for like 3 or 4 spots throughout the movie.
See, I feel like commercials take you out of the moment unless it's built for it. Like sitcoms or TV shows, I don't mind watching those with
Netflix
commercials.
is really good about that because they put the commercial between scenes. So it's like it builds and then you get a 30-second commercial when it's going to move to the next scene. So you kind of sit with it a little bit.
I just
So
feel like
it's
it
good.
takes me out of it. And, especially for like a show like this, I feel like if it took me out of it, I wouldn't go back to it.
Oh. No, I mean.
But anyway, so the invisible thread.
Yes.
For those who want to talk about it in English.
Yes, and you have that option because you can watch it with English subtitles in its original Italian, or it's dubbed with weird, crazy voices.
I don't remember getting the option. It just said dubbed, and then but the mother speaks in English.
Yes, because the surrogate is an American woman. No, it just automatically uploaded with the dub version, but you can go and switch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all.
So the movie is about Paolo and Simone, who are 2 men in Italy, in a same-sex couple. They decide they want to have a baby, so they get with a surrogate by the name of Tilly, and they have a son, and his name is Leo.
Incidentally, I like to point these things out. The 2 actors that play the couple, they're gay in real life. IRL.
So the beginning of it kind of had a like an Up kind of feel to it. They jump through, they cover a lot of their early
minus the tragedy.
Minus
it was
the
like
tragedy.
Up minus the tragedy.
But they cover a lot of their big moments within the first few minutes of the movie when they're going through kind of the introductions with the adopting or having the surrogate. Italy at this time doesn't allow adoption by gay couples, so they can't adopt a baby. Also,
we'll know what that's like in a couple of months.
Yeah, both members of the couple cannot be on the birth certificate. So even though, and they call it a cocktail, even though they mix both their stuff in the little vial and inserted it into the egg, so they don't know who the father is. Only one of them can go on the birth certificate. And then eventually same-sex marriage is passed and they get married. And then eventually, they grow up and they all die. But before that, we have the movie.
There's a whole movie.
There's a whole movie. So Leo is making a video for his class. He has an end of year project where the kids in the I'm assuming it's like a videography class or something.
But they never
say what kind of class
say
it is.
and they give you the impression that like every student's job is to make a video by the end of the year. And I thought that was
like,
weird.
Is it a movie making class?
Yeah.
Europeans have different classes than we take in America. But his is going to be on LGBT rights in Europe.
Yeah, it was going to be about his, as told
through the lens of
his family.
Yeah. So that's kind of the setup of the movie. In the beginning, Leo goes to a party with his friends. And
did you like his friend? I loved his friend.
His friend reminded me of the best friend from Wonder Years.
Oh, yeah?
I can't remember his name.
Arvid Ingrid?
Yeah.
I had a thing for Arvid Ingrid.
All right.
Even when I was a kid. I was a
his
nerd.
name was
nerds.
Jace in this movie, I think.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
He cracked me up, though, because he's clearly a stoner. And just like everything he did was about weed, and it cracked me up.
Jacobo, but they call him Jace.
Jace, they did.
They sure did. So they're at a party, and he meets this girl, Anne, from school, and they're dancing. And Jace is one of those annoying friends who are always up in your business and can't read a room. So he's trying to dance with the girl, and Jace is dancing up with him. And Simone is working late. He works at a restaurant. And they own a restaurant, and he's like the head chef or whatever of their restaurant. And Paolo sells furniture. I got the impression he sells furniture and like designs.
He helps, interior design and
so while Simone's at work, Paolo hears a ding, and he realizes Simone left his phone at home, and he picks it up. And right off the bat, we learn what a terrible person Simone is, because it's the man he's been having an affair with for 2 years on the phone who's he tries to call, and then Paolo hangs up on him and then starts texting him. You okay over there?
I'll be with you in a minute.
You look like you're struggling. So
there we go. I was about to lose power, and I was panicking. I can't have 2 episodes in a row with 2 videos and make Caitlin's life miserable. I just want to point out real quick in this that what's happening is this phone is going off, and it's Simone's phone, and he's away. So the other guy's like responding to it, and the messages are sort of cryptic, like, "Hey, are you with the ball and chain?" kind of a thing, and he's like,
"That doesn't sound cryptic."
He's
to
like,
me.
I wrote this down because I like to point out like when I'm wrong. And I like to guess what's happening in a movie. And so this is the note I made. I was like, it's obvious he isn't cheating. I said, maybe he's opening his own restaurant or something, and that he's talking to his distributor.
Oh,
and
no, I knew he was cheating.
But it sounded like it was too convenient, like, and it really seemed to come from nowhere because there weren't any indications throughout anything they've shown us that there was anything at all wrong in their relationship. So I thought maybe it wasn't that, but
and that's valid considering by the end of this movie, and we'll talk more in depth, but one of my critiques about it is a lot of the situations in this are very sitcom-y. So it kind of throws off because it starts off as kind of a dramedy kind of film, and then there's like these sitcom-y moments thrown in there that just kind of throws the story off.
Yeah.
So I can see how you would. Now that seems because it did when he's reading the text and he's like spazzing out. He has the whole movie. Paolo has this spazzing out problem. It's a problem. Lot like Ross from Friends, and I don't care for it.
Right. I mean, it is extreme overreaction, and I didn't really care for it, but it was sort of exacerbated by the dubbed voice that we were listening to.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had watched it in, the way God intended, and it's native Italian, that it wouldn't have been so, maybe it wouldn't have been so crazy.
Yeah.
But it was crazy.
Maybe. As every good gay would do once they found out they were being cheated on, they go to their best friend's house. In this case, Paolo's best friend is Monica, and tells her that Simone has been cheating. And this ended up making sense by the end of the movie because I agreed with her, but I didn't agree with the way she was saying this in the beginning because I didn't know how fucking crazy Paolo was at this point. But she's like, if I was with you, I'd have cheated a long time ago to Paolo because she starts saying when Leo came around, you became too focused on Leo. Everything was about Leo. And you lost the passion of your relationship. And I was like, I'm not straight and I don't have kids. But I thought that once you have kids, your life does come about the kids. Because everybody I know has kids, it's all they fucking talk about.
That's probably why the divorce rates are 50%.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I think that...
But she just came across so critical.
Yeah. Well, just very matter of fact about it, too. It's just like, oh, well, you need... But I watching that thing, I was like, yeah, she's right. You gotta be. It's about the kids, but you have to make time. I mean, you can't lose sight of the fact that you're married.
Yeah, I get you.
You want somebody to feel like maybe if like there was this thing and it's like, oh, I can save you or the kid. You want to think for a second they might think about saving you instead of the kid, even though you know they're going to save the kid in the long run.
See, in that instance, I disagree. If I'm having a family, I want to know that you will rescue those kids before you rescue me, without a thought. Because we brought those kids in this world. It's our responsibility. Yeah. But if you love your husband more than you love your kids, that's not my business. Just, I hope your kids never listen to this podcast.
Well, I'm not going to have kids.
Oh, well, see, you've killed them already.
I mean, I would save the little girl that was dancing and having a good time at the show.
The what?
The little girl at the show I talked about.
Oh, I thought we were still on the movie. I was like, I don't remember that scene.
I would.
Anyway, so we fast forward to the next day. Paolo and Simone are celebrating their 20th anniversary. I assume it's not their wedding anniversary because they got married after Leo was born, and Leo is not 20.
I just found it all very... I mean, this is another thing that was weird about it. It's just they're celebrating their 20 years, but this guy's like having an affair... So why would he agree? It just didn't make sense that they were having this big production about their 20 years together if he was so far into being in love with somebody else. I just found it all very weird. I
mean, I've known people who have had affairs who keep up the facade of their marriage and still go through all of the big...
I dated a guy who he had an affair for a couple of months while we were together and kept up this, I guess, facade of us being in a relationship, but it was clear that we weren't, like, we would never have had a big party celebrating our love.
And this is why I didn't find this weird. I went to a 25th anniversary party of someone and later found out that he had been having an affair on her for many years.
Who? I'm just kidding.
No. Not on this podcast.
Are we going to have to go back and delete it?
But yeah, so they're celebrating the 20th anniversary, and because Paolo has hidden Simone's phone, he does not know that his whore has been trying to get a hold of him. And so he's like, I can't get a hold of him. I'll just show up at their house. Conveniently on their 20th anniversary dinner where Monica and her boyfriend or husband are there, and Leo has invited Anna over.
Anna's beautiful, by the way.
Anna's beautiful. Yeah. And we should mention before Anna comes over to the dinner and her mom wants to come in and meet the couple and her brother comes in, the three of them come in, and she's like, I just wanted to meet the parents and congratulate them. So she meets Paolo and says, is your wife here? And just then Simone comes out, and Anna didn't tell her mom that they were a gay couple, and she's all kind of like, and just like flabbergasted.
And then they were like, she's stroking out.
Yeah.
And then they called 911.
No. So she leaves, and they're like, it wasn't nice that you didn't tell your mom. And she's like, oh, my mom's one of those conservative traditionalists who doesn't believe in same-sex marriage, so I wanted to see her freak out.
Well, yeah, I mean, she said she says that she has a lot of gay friends, but she doesn't really.
But she doesn't believe in same-sex marriage. So the guy shows up, and Simone goes out there, and he's talking to him, and he's like, "You shouldn't have come here." And Paolo and Monica are watching through the window and sees them, and Paolo has one of his freak out Ross moments, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go out there," and like grabs I don't know what that was, a candlestick or something.
Pin?
Something from the kitchen. He's going to go out there and clobber them, I guess. And she's like,
probably would have.
Yeah. So she's like, no, calm down. And so then
she's like, this is where I'll disagree with her. She says, no, you're going to calm down. You're going to go out there. You're going to sit at that table with everybody and pretend like nothing's happening. And then we're going to deal with this later. And it's like, no, cancel the party. Yeah. Send everybody home and then have the conversation.
Yeah. So then they look back out there, and the boyfriend, the whore, kisses Simone.
We're not slut shaming. We're just distinguishing.
Yeah, I
'Cause
don't
we
know
don't know
his
his name, so his name is whore.
Yeah, he's just the whore. Because I have been cheated on, and I will only refer to him as the whore.
I slept with people who were dating people. I was the whore.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, own that.
I used to drink a lot.
Sew that on a t-shirt. No. So he comes in, and they sit down they're cutting the cake, and he's like, Paolo is violently cutting the cake.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a former employee.
Oh,
and how they used to cut cakes. I saw that.
It
and I
was
like,
not a well-cut
I was like,
cake.
oh, they weren't the only one. Look, this person can't cut it either.
Oh, see, they were just angry.
And what
is
a
all it
weird,
was.
like, odd, like, slice of cake too.
Yeah. So Simone's like, you didn't wait for me to cut the cake? And he's like, no, why would I wait for you? You're out there with your whore. And then all hell breaks loose.
I mean, come on, all in all, I mean, it was kind of the scene was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was
just
very
because of the way.
sitcom-y in the way they did it. But it was a humorous scene. And they spaz out. And as they're screaming, there's a knock at the door, and Paolo assumes it's the whore, and Simone's like, don't answer that. And Leo's like, I'm going to answer the door. And they're like all fighting who's going to answer the door. And then Leo gets the door and opens it, and Tilly and they never specify whether they're married or not, but we'll call her husband. Tilly and her husband flew in from America to surprise them for their 20th anniversary. Although it's funny because throughout the whole movie, it's like Tilly's like, oh, I'm here to surprise you, but it's like on their way to something. So it's like, we stopped by to see you on our way to Sicily to meet his family.
Because it was convenient.
Yeah. It was just convenient to stop by and see you. So Simone packs a bag and he leaves, goes and stays at the restaurant for the night. The next day, Leo is going on a trip with Anna and her brother to go rock climbing. So you have something to say to
One
that?
of my favorite parts, this whole dynamic of her and her brother, they're twins.
Yes.
And the Leone
is his name.
Leone. It makes me happy. Like it's a comedy of errors. And so there were things I didn't understand about their relationship until like later in this.
Yeah.
But so they go on to Leone, he's going on a date with her.
Yeah.
And so she has to bring her brother because her mom wouldn't let her go without her brother. But then they're out there and I think they're going on like a hike, and all of a sudden they come to this large wall, and the dude's like, all right, I'm going to climb this wall. And I'm like, who climbs a rock on a date? And then about 30 seconds later, it was answered that, oh, this wasn't a date.
Yeah. Also, they take their coats off and they've got it's like rock climbing gear. It's not like they walked up and they're like, oh, I think I might climb a rock today. They take the jacket off and they came prepared. I don't know if they wear that all the time, like just in case.
And the two dudes climb the rock.
Yeah.
How did the girl get to the top? It's a tall wall. It's not like there was a path to get up there other than climbing this thing. And it's not like, oh, it's a rock climbing wall. No, it's a rock.
It's just a mountain.
It's like that thing Tom Cruise hangs from in Mission Impossible. And they were like, oh, let's just climb it.
Yeah, very similar.
So you want to tell them what happened when they climbed the rock?
So the boys get to the top and they're hanging out and
can we say this about the brother?
Sure.
The brother is a very angry person.
Yes, he has anger
He gets in fights all the time, and the sister thinks he's a moron and yells at him all the time for always getting in fights. So
yes.
I just think it's important to know because he's about to explain why he always gets in fights.
So Dario tells Leo that he admires him and that him being comfortable being a gay person has encouraged him to come out as a gay person, and then he kisses him. The problem is Leo is not gay. He just has gay dads. So he tells Dario, he goes, listen, I'm not gay. And so Dario responds with violence and grabs him by his shirt and says, if you tell anybody about this, I will fucking kill you. And he's like, hey, dude, calm down. I'm not going to tell anybody you're gay. So then Leo's talking with Anna, and he's like, what's the deal? And she goes, oh, I thought that you and my brother would make a cute couple. And he goes, but I'm not gay. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah.
And she's like, but I don't get it. You have gay dads.
Yeah, just because you have gay parents doesn't mean that you're gay. And so he gets upset and doesn't talk to them on the bus ride home.
Can I interrupt for one second
Sure.
and just tell you, I thought of a new career for you. If the paper ever goes under and you need a job, I want you to watch foreign language films, and then I want you to be the voice that dubs them. But I want you to dub them with like your reenactments of it.
I would love to dub this movie.
Yeah. Let's make it happen.
So Leo gets home and he's all upset because, the girl thought he was gay. And then his dad, Paolo, is there and he's opening up bottles of wine. He's got I don't know you, but I first thought, oh, is he getting drunk?
I thought so too.
He's just got bottles of wine, empty wine bottles. But what he's doing is Simone has a very expensive
sommelier.
Has a very expensive wine collection that he's been curating for years. And Paolo is opening all the bottles and dumping it down the sink, which is kind of a dick move. I don't care if your husband cheated on you. That's a dick move.
Right. And he's like, the son is like, but he loves all of those. And he's like, he used to love this family. Yeah. And then
he no longer loves us.
It was so weird.
He's just so aggressive.
This is the moment where it was like,
it starts to turn.
Where you start, because this whole time I'm making notes like, Simone, you don't get to be mad about somebody checking your phone. You cheated, your phone gets checked. Mm-hmm. That's the rules of the universe. You have to be okay with that. So it's not like, how dare you read my phone? That's the worst thing that's happening in this conversation. No, you're cheating.
This is where you start to see, I'd probably cheat on you too.
You start to see what a nasty person. What a vindictive, horrible. You're just, it's money, right? You're pouring tons of money down the drain. Well, so it's dumb. At least drink it.
Yeah. So Leo goes to bed. Next day he's at school. Anna comes and talks to him and says, listen, I know I thought you were gay, but now I'm happy you're not gay because I like you and I want to go out with you. And he's like, oh, I like you too. And then they go to kiss, but Simone's there. And he's like, as the Italians do. So
when they clear their throat.
Yes. He says, hey, I was hoping we could hang out. And Leo's obviously angry with Simone and says, maybe another time. You cheated on Dad, you cheating whore. He didn't say those words, but I think he was thinking it.
Yeah, he's a good son. He was like, Dad's really hurting from what you did. Shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, and then we'll hang out another time. So Simone and Paolo get calls from their lawyer. Italian law is changing. This is what I call the start of the sitcom.
Now, is any of this real? Did this?
I don't know. I didn't research it, but I'm going to assume
really just go back and change things.
We're about to find out.
I know. It made me think oh my God, they can really just change it and do whatever they want.
Yeah. So Italian law changed, and they decided that only the legal father can be, because they had changed it that both of them could get on the birth certificate. Now only the legal father can be on the birth certificate. So the lawyer says Italian law is going to require you to do a DNA test to find out who the biological father is, because they did the cocktail because they didn't want to know, and they never did a DNA test. So they don't know who the biological father is. Right, because the whole
premise of here is we're a family, and it doesn't matter who your biological father is. What matters is that we're a family, so we're never going to get this test done.
Yeah. So
until
So Paolo is at work and Leo is out at the skate park with Anna, and they kiss for the first time without a dad around. And while they're doing that, Simone goes by the house and he brings the whore with him.
And some empty suitcases.
And he starts packing the bags. And you know what's coming. He says...
I was trying to draw this parallel to what actually happened in my real life with this person that had the affair.
Yeah.
So we broke up, and we were all very amicable. But then I started dating somebody else, and the amicable thing stopped because it was all real fast.
Yeah.
And so the person that I was dating and the new boyfriend showed up at the house, not with 2 suitcases, but a U-Haul truck.
Oh.
And cleared that place out, so much so you wouldn't believe. Our neighbors came over and they thought we moved because of all the stuff that got cleared out. Was it
all his stuff, or he just took everything?
Well, it's an interesting thing, right? It's all... So what happened is... Jen and I paid the mortgage, and then he paid for everything else. So if we needed something like furniture or stuff, he would buy all of that. So in his mind, he owned all that stuff in the house.
Yeah.
Not that, hey, you didn't have to pay the mortgage because we took care of that. So you can have half of it, but not all of it. So they just cleared the whole place off. And Jen and I were just sort of deliriously laughing at the time, drinking beer and saying goodbye to all the furniture and everything as it walked out of the house. And I mean, it was so crazy that he even took the shower curtain liner that had been used and was like mildewy and gross, and then a broken trash can. Like all this, it was just ridiculous. But it was funny and gave us the opportunity to start fresh anyway, so we didn't care. So when they showed up with the suitcases, it made me think of that.
Yeah. So he sends the whore into the kitchen. He says, "Hey, take this suitcase and start getting my bottles of wine." And he goes in there and he's like, "I do not see the bottles of wine." And he's like, "It's right there." So he goes in there and he sees the empty bottles in the garbage bag, and he loses his shit.
He loses his shit.
So he's screaming and he runs upstairs and he gets a pair of scissors. And we should mention earlier in the movie, we learned that Paolo likes his suits. He has a Prada suit that he's really proud of.
Proud of his Prada.
And Simone takes a pair of scissors to that Prada suit and cuts it all up. So
he stabs it
violently
stabbing it.
I'm glad Paolo wasn't there because he would have killed him. So Paolo, while they're there, they're cleaning out the stuff, getting his stuff from the bathroom, and they find the guy picks up the hairbrush. He goes, "Is this yours?" And he goes, "No, that's Leo's." And he says, "There's hair in it," which I'm glad that it went a different direction, but I was like, this is real fucking weird. What are you talking about? So there's hair in it.
Did you think he was going to say, like, we can clone him and then you can both have one?
I didn't know. He just seemed really excited that there was hairs on the hairbrush. And he was like, you should take it and have your DNA tested with this to see if you're the father, because you don't want to be surprised when they do it for the birth certificate. So they take the hairs and they go to do the DNA test with it. Paolo comes home and he has the same idea, and because Leo had been having tea and was chewing gum, and he put a little piece of gum on the end of the saucer.
But Paolo had come home and seen his suits destroyed. As well.
Did we get to that part yet?
Did we not?
I don't know.
I feel like we did, because then I think that's when he decides to take the gum and do his own test.
Oh, because he's at the suit, and then Leo comes in.
And he kind of loses his mind.
And he loses it on Leo, and Leo's like, he's hurting too. You guys need to calm down. And he's like, if you love him so much, then you go to your father. And I'm like, dude, this is why no one likes you. And
now
why
it's hard to tell what country they're from.
At the end of the movie, why you will end up alone. You, Richard, not Paolo.
But that's the moment, right, when I just wrote down, like, I was like, he's just lost his mind.
Yeah,
Paolo's
I don't care for you anymore,
and
Paolo.
it just becomes evil, and then he's like, I want to destroy him, and I want him to lose everything, and it's just kind of nasty. But he takes the gum.
Yes, he takes the gum, and he goes and has the DNA tested. So Leo, because of his fight with Paolo and his broken family, he gets in a fight with Jace because Jace is like, hey, use this for the movie, the video that we're making. And he's like, we're not doing the video anymore. This is my family. And he's like, well, it's my grade. So you need to suck it up, Buttercup, because we're making the movie.
And like Leo just wanted to make a movie about his family being
perfect.
It's like, oh, this love came together and they found this perfect person, have this perfect child, and everything's lovely and great, and he's like, I don't want to do this other story about a broken home. And the kid was like, well, screw you, most of us come from a broken home, and you're just like the rest of us.
Welcome to the club, asshole. And then he rides his bike off. So Simone shows up at Paolo's job because while they went into this venture of the restaurant together, and Simone is the head chef, Paolo actually owns the building, and he has decided that he's going to sell the building, and Simone is going to have to get the fuck out. Yeah, very dick move.
Yeah, like, oh, you gave up what you were doing to go run this restaurant, but I'm going to take it away from you.
Yeah. So they fight, and Then Paolo tells Simone that he's doing the DNA test. And we go to the night before we find out the DNA results. Leo stays the night at Anne's house.
It's my other favorite part of the movie.
And they
really,
do it.
When it involves the twins and them, it's my favorite part.
Yeah. The next morning, Leo is all happy. He's like, no, I had sex with my girlfriend. And he goes to walk to the bathroom. He's in his underwear. And he opens the door. And Dario's in there. And he is in a towel. He just got out of the shower. And he's like, oh, no, you can come in. I'm getting out. And so he says, before you take a shower or pee or whatever you're going to do, I just want to say thank you.
Which is why I want you to dub this, because that was not said at all.
No, that's what he's thinking before you do whatever. So he's like, I just want to say thank you for, helping me to be able to come out, and I'm happier now. And I hope we can be friends, and I'm sorry I was a dick to you.
And then he gives him a hug.
And of course, right at that moment, his mom opens the door and sees the two gays hugging, and she's like, not in my house.
Now, what mom just opens the door when a teenage son is in the bathroom?
I don't have kids, mother.
But who does that?
A nosy mother. So then Anna comes out, and she's like, your brother is with this little homo boy. And she's like, that's not a homo boy. That's my boyfriend. And she goes, your boyfriend? And he's like, yeah, by the way, I'm gay too, says Dario. Tells his mom it comes out. And she's like, she's just fed up. And she's like, the three of you get the fuck out of the bathroom and get ready for school. I have no time for this anymore.
It was pretty funny watching her misunderstanding of it all. I enjoyed it.
So we cut back to the house. Paolo and Simone are there. They make up. Paolo has decided he's not going to sell the restaurant, and that he basically sold it to Simone for dollars. So he basically gave it to him, and he goes, we need to learn to.
Did you talk about the suit replacement too?
Oh, he brought a suit. It's not a Prada because he can't afford a Prada, but it's a nice suit.
They're being like super nice to each other. I like your suit. Now they haven't. We don't know the results of the DNA test.
Not
and
yet.
There's this thing where they've just decided they're going to be really nice. So here is the second time I was wrong about this movie. So I wrote down, they're making nice with each other, and they're probably going to decide they're not going to tell us the results because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And this is going to be into this movie.
So they're being nice to each other because they got the results, and Paolo hands the paper over to Simone and says, I found out I'm not the father. And Simone says, well, that's impossible because I found out I'm not the father. Neither one was the father.
And then Maury Povich comes out and says,
he's like, you are not the fathers. Fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, and then it's funny-ish at this point, but then you realize like they were just being nice to each other because they thought they weren't the
other one
father.
wasn't going to let them see the son.
Right, and they were like, well, I'm going to be nice to you, so you let me see the kid.
Yeah,
that was lame.
So Leo comes home, and the father's like, sit down, we have to talk. And they say, we did DNA tests on you without your knowledge, and we're not your dads. And he's upset that neither one of them are his father. He's upset that they betrayed him, didn't ask him before they tested his DNA.
Right, because his whole life was about, it doesn't matter, we're a family, it doesn't matter what the DNA is. But now they're like, well, now it matters, so we're going to find out, but we're not going to ask you.
This is one of those stupid things that they do in movies. It's like, explain to him Italian law. Instead of just being like, well, we sorry, we didn't, we chose the DNA. Say, the Italian said we had to fucking do this. It's the law, son.
Yeah, you don't like it.
Take it up with the Italian
government.
Become
a congressman, change the law.
So he storms out.
I don't know how it works over there.
And he hops on his bike to take off. But before he does, he takes
Join
3
equality
pills.
Italian. Change the rules.
Chase had given Leo a baggie with 3 pills in it, and he takes the 3 pills, and he goes to the skate park, which has a rock climbing wall.
And here we are, back to the rock climb. But this is a rock climbing wall.
Yeah.
It's very tall. And I don't know if anybody in this room has ever taken pills of any kind for recreational use, but I don't imagine that the first thought in your mind is, I should go climb a really tall wall without any safety equipment whatsoever.
Well, that's Leo's thought.
That is.
And he decides to climb up it. It's starting to rain. The rocks are wet. He has no rope, and he starts getting to the top. And his friends come running over, and they're like, no, Leo, don't do it.
And what brought them to this park on such a rainy day?
Well, they were all hanging out there.
They were?
He went there, and they were there. And then he says, I just want to be alone. And they're like, okay, well, don't be long. Come hang out with us. And then it starts to rain. And then he's like, I'm going to climb that rock. So his friends are yelling for him to come down, and they start sliding a bunch of mats over and stacking them up in case he falls off. And he makes it to the top.
Have you ever... Okay. This cracked me up, this whole thing. So he gets up there, and it's the top, so it's difficult because it's really tall like this. So if you're watching the video, I'm going to help you out here. But then the very top of it came like this. So it's at an incline. So to climb to all the way to the top up here, you would kind of have to go backwards a little, which is some like American Ninja shit, right? Like it's very difficult. You got to be really strong to do this. So he's like up to the point where it breaks like that, and he goes, I want to go all the way to the top. So he does, but he gets up there. And then he just puts his arms on the top and it's like he's hanging there.
Yeah, just chilling. And then he says, okay,
you ever
I'm
try
going
to hold
down
yourself
now.
up on anything? You can't just hang there like that.
He weighs like 80 pounds. He's
That is
fine.
true. He's very
just
thin.
dangling there. But then he decides he's going to come down, and he gets maybe 10, 15 feet down the wall, and he slips and falls, landing on his back. They rush him to the hospital.
Did he slip or did he give up?
I mean,
the script said he slipped, but
I'm sure he slipped.
they didn't show his foot slip.
Oh, excuse me. So we cut to the hospital. He's in a hospital bed. He's got a neck brace on, but they say he's going to be fine. Leo's friends are there.
I love Caitlin's reactions to this shit. Like, she gets so invested in us talking about what's happening, like, that she reacts to things, and you're like, Andy's house, he's going to be okay. And she's like, oh, like, whew, thank God.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be fine. And his friends are there.
Yeah, his friends are there, and then they had called the dads, and they one at a time get there.
Dramatic Dad 1 shows up.
And it's in like this is another very sitcom-y moment where he comes storming in with Monica, and he's like, oh, Monica. It's Ross and Monica. And he's all panicking. He's like, my son. And they're like, he's in room 107. And he's like, where is that? And they're like, it's on the first floor. And he's like, where's the first floor? It's the first floor, stupid.
You're on the first floor.
So he goes running, and he's like, which way? And they're like, it's that way. And then they storm in there. And then the other dad, Simone, shows up, and he comes in. He goes, where is my son? And they're like, who are you? And it's like, I'm the father. And like, but the father's already in there. And he's like, I'm the other father. And they're like,
do you
whatever.
not listen to Equality
First
Italy?
Floor.
There can be
and then
two
he goes
fathers.
Around, he goes, which way? And he goes, that way. So he goes running in there. And then Tilly shows up, and she's like, my boy. And they're like, who are you? And she's like, I'm the mama. And they're like, yeah, we were missing one of those.
Doesn't he call her daddy, though? Isn't that her name?
Day. It's something to do with the surrogacy.
I just assumed that was Italian for dad.
Maybe it's Day is short, like the way you say surrogacy in Italian. I don't know.
Okay.
But then she says the mama because they don't know what a Day is.
Me too, girl.
And they're like, that way. So they go in, and the friends leave, and Monica leaves, and they're like, Tilly, you have some splaining to do. And they hold the DNA test up, and Tilly says, yeah, they had tried 7 times with the insemination, and it just wasn't taking. And I guess I'd never been inseminated, so I don't know that I didn't know this is a rule.
I don't know that that's
but,
true.
So you're not supposed to have sex right after the insemination. And she decided to have sex with her ex-husband, Steven, and that is how she got pregnant. They'll never have to explain this to Steven because Steven died a few years before that. So the Steven doesn't know. And they all forgive Tilly, and they find out that because this is a special circumstance, Italian law makes concessions for special circumstances. So they both can adopt him, and they can both go on the birth certificate. Happy ending. And then Leo does his film project, and he's like the invisible thread that pulls us all together. And I'm like, that's the name of the movie.
But then they do a cool thing. I thought the credits were cool because during the credits, they show like where the families of the parents and where they came from, and they have all these pictures up, and then they start threading from one family to the next to how they get to this family.
With an invisible thread.
And I will say, the gist of this story, right, is that there's this notion, right, that hey, people fought for years for gays to have marriage equality, and now we have marriage equality. You have to stay together and you have to protect that and you have to be that. But when in reality, we're all just human beings, and sometimes marriages fail, and that's also what we fought for, was just to be equal. And
That's
have
what we fought for. I don't know if they fought in Italy or not. I wasn't there.
They just got the residuals from our fight.
They waited for us to fight.
Well, I mean,
typical
apparently I don't know. I mean, with that was willy-nilly as they put names on a thing and take it off over there. Who knows what happens? But what this was just showing is that they're actually just a normal family. Or, that every family is normal, and that they're all like, we all have our ups and downs, and sometimes they're broken and sometimes they're not. And so it's really cool. It was just a really good, like the whole message there was really cool.
Yeah. As Wikipedia says, Leo finds himself thinking about the invisible thread which binds him to his two dads and all those who brought him into the world. The end.
Yeah.
Well done, Leo.
So,
et al.
What did you think of it?
I liked it. There were the sitcom-y parts of it were a little much, but I can overlook that. I've seen a couple of movies. They were mostly French, but I assume the Italians are the same way. Where they have like sitcom-y moments in their dramedy films like that. So maybe that's just their shtick.
Yeah,
They
it was
really
definitely
dig
a
that.
dramedy. Everything I read about it was
But yeah,
a dramedy.
I dug it. I thought it was a good movie. I thought the acting was, for the most part, good, except for Crazy Dad. I didn't care for that shit.
It was more of a comedy than The Bear is, for sure.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, definitely funnier than The Bear.
So, yeah, I liked it too. I do get, like, it was a little disjointed, honestly. But well worth the watching.
Yeah,
it was
if
very
you
much.
have Netflix, there's no reason not to check it.
Yeah, it was enjoyable, and like I
Don't
clearly
get Netflix just for this movie.
No.
But if you have it, then check it out.
Yeah, and I definitely. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I'm gonna end that. I answer the phones, the main lines for Watermark, and I don't have a way to tell my computer that I'm busy. So. But
yes,
anyway, it was good. Most of the comments, like I'll say this, if any of the, I don't know what they call it, the splats of tomatoes on the reviews, were basically what we think, that it was just sort of disjointed and it didn't know if it was supposed to be funny or not funny.
Yeah.
And it just, there was a lot going on, and parts of it were comical, and then what should have been really dramatic just looked off at times. But all in all, I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's totally worth watching it.
Absolutely.
What do you think? You want to do your grapes or you want to do Rotten Tomatoes?
We do them out of 5, right?
We're doing it at 5 now, and
Yeah,
I don't know
I'll
if we
give it
did it
3.
last time or not. But
I'll give it 3.
Yeah, solid 3.
Yeah.
Solid. Definitely worth the watching.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes. Is there a Rotten Tomato score for both of them? Okay.
Not critics, just audience.
Just audience? Oh.
There's only 4 reviews from critics.
Oh. I'll say 85.
That's generous.
No.
Let me see what it was. I think I remember.
I didn't think it was that generous.
But I don't know why. 78.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
not
that seems
far
like
off.
like a 3. That's like a C rating. C plus. 78.
Is
C
it?
plus.
I don't remember. I haven't been in school in a while. Was a 78 a C? That doesn't seem right.
90s are A's, 80s are B's, 70s are C's.
Oh, when I was in 94 and up was an A, 85 and up was a B.
That makes no sense.
It wasn't straight up 90s, 80s, 70s when I was in school.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think 64 and up was
64 and below was an F. I know
Yes.
that. I feel like 75 and below was a D. So yeah, I guess 78 would be a C. A low C, but a C.
solid.
Caitlin has this weird look on her face like I'm speaking Chinese to her. We graded things very differently in the 80s. We also had to take the President's Health Challenge, and if I couldn't do enough sit-ups and push-ups, I couldn't graduate.
Yeah. Did you have to do that too?
Yeah.
Did you have to do that? Oh, wow. Yeah, there's like things like, did you have, what's that new way of doing math? What's that new way that children do math today? What's it called? Like where you have to, it's weird. It is for those of us that grew up.
There's a name for it.
Yeah. Did you have to do that weird
You
math
have to make
thing?
like a little chart, and it's like if you're doing 19 times 27, you have to write 19 across and then 27 down, and you have to be like, this number adds up to this, and this number adds up to this, and then you take these numbers, you add this number to this. It's stupid.
Yeah, it reminds
Not
me of A
everything needs
Beautiful
chart.
Mind when like all the things are going around and like
Sometimes
draw
all you
this
need
here.
is a calculator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So good movie. Check it out. We will
Math
be back
today is
next
why I
week.
don't have children.
children is why I don't have math today.
All true. Yeah, we don't know what we're going to cover next time, but we're going to cover something.
it'll be something. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. But until then, the cork is back in the bottle.